Hi everyone. When I was shopping for my Louis Vuitton Neverfull bag, I found that there were quite a few reviews on the bag style itself, but not so many on the Damier Azur print and also not as many on the size. So I want to give a really robust review on this particular size and color scheme, just so people who were looking for this particular bag could find a lot of details online. So I'll first go into why I chose this color and this size, and then I'll go into the pros and cons of the bag because there's plenty of each. So the first is, this is the size. As you can see as I kind of pull it away, this is the cinched in. You can also cinch it out and it gets a little bit bigger on the sides. Here, I'll show you what that looks like on one side. The size is the middle size, so it goes down to a PM and then also up to the GM size. Now, the PM size, for me, when I was looking at it, probably has the actual size when it's cinched out around here, and then the bottom end's right around here on the back. When I was looking at it, I just thought that looked a little too short and squat for me. Just the way that the bag was, something about it didn't look proportional. I also didn't like that you can't fit a full-size file folder on the inside, or anything a larger size wouldn't necessarily fit in the PM size. It's just a little too petite. The GM size, conversely, is enormous. I mean, it probably would come out to about here, and then down another 4 inches or so on the bottom. It's probably good for people either who are a larger stature. I'm only 5'2", so for me the seemed like a perfect size. But people who are larger in stature might prefer the GM size, or if you have to carry a bunch of stuff on a routine basis. Now the thing to think about with the GM is that it's such a large bag, and this is a pretty soft canvas, that if you don't fill it all the way, it starts to kind of flop over. So the sides start to flop down on that one because it's so large and it just can't keep its shape. The structural integrity of the bag just doesn't stay because it's so large. So with that bag, don't buy it if you're not going to fill it on a habitual basis with all of those things. Also think about your back. I mean, how much are you going to put in this bag? This bag, as is the size, is enormous on the inside. You could fill this with 50 pounds of things easily. So just start to think about what you're going to be putting in the bag and how much you're going to be carrying, and if you actually can carry it, especially because these handles are nice and thin, which I think adds a lot to the look of the bag. It makes it more elegant and feminine, but at the same time that also means that it's more weight pulling down on your shoulder. So if you really fill this bag, people start to feel it up here. So I'll show this to you on my body. As I said, I'm 5'2", so this is what it looks like when it's all cinched in. I think it's a nice ladylike look. It gives a little bit more shape to the bag, and I like the fold up front. I think it's feminine and beautiful. I also like it all the way folded out. I think that that's a really good look, and it's more of a casual look. So if you're going to barbecues, to picnics, if you need to put a bunch of stuff in it for work, shopping, it works. So if we get up nice and close, the other thing that I like a lot about this bag, about the color scheme, is that from far away it looks like check, but once you get up close you can see that the blue is actually woven with the white thread, and the white is woven with a darker beige, which means that this goes well with very light whites, and it also goes very nicely with a little bit darker, so darker browns and beiges and taupes, things of that color family. So that kind of gets me to why I purchased this bag. I thought that it was so versatile. You can wear this with basically any of your summer and spring wardrobe. Like you see today, I have a blue blazer on and that kind of cream shirt. Matches perfectly with this outfit. Now, I tend, because I'm fair in skin and hair, to wear a lot more of the lighter color scheme, so I didn't want another monogram bag. I have the Speedy in the monogram, and while I think it's beautiful in this bag, it really is more of a fall bag. This is a spring and summer and more of a outdoor, hotter weather bag. So if you live in a hotter location, you might want to think about this particular color scheme. I also thought that this coordinates with a lot more stuff than the monogram bag does, or the Damier Ebene, which is this same pattern, but it's a darker. So I just thought that this I would get my money's worth, and it's proven to be true. I've had this about 3 weeks, and I always reach for it over my Speedy, which is horrible, I know, because the Speedy is a beautiful, beautiful bag, but this is just so classic in shape. You can throw it on your shoulder. It's versatile in the size, in the shape, and the color scheme. So that's kind of the triple whammy for me, and that's what makes it one of my favorite bags in my collection. Now, looking at the bag kind of in overall, in general, so I've shown you the color scheme of the bag. It's the canvas as well, and then you do have the vachetta leather, so that's the untreated cowhide leather. It's a beautiful leather and will darken with time. Now, that's a con that I'll talk about in a few minutes with this bag as well. But note that you can always replace the leather in these bags if it ever gets damaged. You just take it into the Louis Vuitton store. And for a price that's nominal compared with the price of the new bag, you can replace them. It has a beautiful red on the interior of the handles right here. And then it has the cinchers on the sides and the brass hardware like all the Louis Vuitton. On the interior of the bag has this clasp up top. It's for added security. I don't really think it adds that much, to be quite frank, but I do think that it, it helps a little bit, and I think it helps to keep the shape of the bag because it ties the tops together up top. So when you open that, if I can get it open, that's actually a bit difficult of a clasp to open. It has this huge interior pocket. Now, this is the reason why the fact that the top doesn't have a zipper doesn't bother me, is that there's this enormous pocket on the interior that has a zipper on it for security. So this pocket is probably 8 inches by 10 inches would be my estimate, and you can fit a wallet, phones, anything valuable, you just put it in here. So that's what I tend to do when I carry this bag, is all my valuables go up here, and then anything else that I need goes in the enormous interior. I'll flip it so you can see the interior size. In the enormous interior, you put water bottles, scarves, sweatshirts, shopping stuff, anything that you purchase or anything that you need, you just throw it in there. And then the top, the clasp does help a little bit, I guess, for security. It does have a D-ring inside, and then the date code is under the pocket. I won't show you because they're not that thrilling. So talking about the cons of this bag. Now, as I said before, this is one of my favorite bags, but I do recognize that there are some things about this bag that people don't like. The one is the vachetta leather. People say that once this darkens, it doesn't look as good with the white. I went online and looked up pictures of, older vachetta on this particular color pattern. I don't think it looks horrible, but as it starts to get very dark, it does start to look a bit too contrasting between this light right here and then this light canvas. For that reason, you probably are going to have to replace this after maybe 5 years when these get really, really dark, that very dark brown. It kind of matches with the darker color schemes, so not so much with this lighter one. The other con is that you have to be very careful with color transfer. So when you're wearing dark jeans, it tends to rub on the side of this bag. So you have to be extremely careful because you can stain the exterior of this bag. I've seen it a couple times. I've been careful with mine. Nothing has shown up on it so far. The other thing is that the interior is very light, so you do have to worry about that as well, getting dirty faster than some of the other interiors. To me, it doesn't matter that much because it's the inside of a bag, but you do want to be careful, as always, just for resale value. The other thing that I would caution people about on this bag is see the sides right here. So this one is lined up pretty well, but when I was in the Louis Vuitton boutique, I came this close to purchasing a bag that was actually out of line. Like, it was completely, and I don't know if it just passed quality control, but it shouldn't have, but it wasn't lined up on the sides. And that, to me, makes it look like a fake bag. I mean, I paid $850 for a bag. I want it to be perfect. So just carefully check the sides of your bag right there. I also saw a few with really big holes on the stitching on the interior, and she said, oh, that's just when the needle gets old. But for me, if you're buying a bag, it needs to be perfect. And that, I think, are the biggest that I can think of. In terms of care of this bag, you want to take care of it just like you do with all Louis Vuitton bags, but it doesn't need any super special attention. I mean, this is a coated canvas, so it will repel some stains. You just have to be careful with the dark colors or things that can wipe off that wouldn't show so much on the darker colored bags. The pros of this bag I've kind of already talked about, but it's such a versatile shape. I like that the shape can be worn 2 ways. I like that there's this big pocket on the inside that zips. I think they thought that out really well with how large that interior pocket is. I like that it can go so many places, and that it's a perfect shopping bag, and it also fits really well and comfortably under your shoulder. So for that reason, this really has become my go-to bag, and I grab it all the time. So if you're thinking about it, I really would highly recommend that you go out and purchase this bag. Note the cons, but if you're okay with the cons, as I was, it's the perfect bag. You'll wear it all the time, and it will definitely be money well spent. Thanks.